Most people look at a piece of wood and see a surface, a place to put a laptop, a cup of coffee. It's a piece of furniture. But this is a biological rarity. It's Bastogne Walnut, a genetic hybrid that doesn't reproduce in the wild. It grows with a density and a shimmer that makes standard timber look like cardboard. It is quite literally nature's art. Let's back up a bit. Here's what it looked like when I got it. This isn't just grain. It's a record. Years ago, this tree caught a lick of fire. It opened a wound that should have been the end of it, but it didn't die. It scarred over. It kept growing, layering this incredible figure around the trauma. It's a survivor's story, told in the cellulose and lignin. And this wasn't a one-and-done job, because this crack ran the entire length of the slab, and there was so much potential movement during the flattening process that the original bow ties were left paper thin, much too thin to keep their bite. So I had to go back in, reroute, refit, and relayer those ebony stitches. It's double handling and it's tedious, but it's satisfying because it's the only way to make sure that 100 years from now, this desk is still a desk and not a collection of expensive splinters. Most of those satisfying woodworking videos you see online follow a set recipe. You get a slab, you cut it to rough size, pour a river of resin, flatten it, and maybe a bow tie for aesthetics. But with this piece of Bastogne, that approach would have been a total disaster. Now, you can't have a slab this size and just hope for the best. Wood is a living, breathing thing. It's constantly moving and expanding and contracting with the seasons. It's essentially a thermal mass of cellulose. If you don't respect that, the internal tensions will eventually tear the piece apart. So I had to reverse the entire process. The ebony bow ties were deliberately fitted before the slab was even cut to size. I had to mechanically arrest the movement while the wood was still in its raw, chaotic state. It's like bracing a wall before you cut a doorway through it. You don't cut first and hope it stands. You support the load and then you open it up. Then there's the base. Most desks are static, 4 legs and a top. Kind of boring. This slab had flowing grain, and I wanted to match that geometry through a sculpted base that mirrors the grain of the slab above. But look at the mounting points. I haven't just bolted the top down. I've used slotted fasteners to let the Bastogne float. It moves, the base stays still. It's engineering empathy. And the resin, it's not just filler. I've used a deep pour black resin, and it's bonded to that charred wood at a molecular level, effectively freezing the fire damage in time. It turns a structural void into a solid structural bridge. It's sort of the carbon fiber repair of the woodworking world. You've got raw, explosive energy of the grain held in check by the surgical precision of joinery. There's a specific kind of silence you get when you sit behind a piece like this. It's not just quiet, it's composure. You look at the black resin, the depth of that Bastogne grain, and the ebony bow ties holding centuries of history in check, and it kind of changes your heart rate. It grounds you. You spend so much of your time making choices in flimsy, temporary spaces, but this is a place for deliberation. When you sit here, you aren't just checking boxes. You're in a position of permanence. It's an environment that demands the same level of integrity from you that it took to build it. It's a desk for the person who knows that the space where you think determines the quality of the thought. It just sits there with this incredibly quiet authority. It's the kind of surface where yes and no actually carries weight. I'm John from Black Walnut Studios.